Welcome back to HogvilleNet YouTube Live. I just did within the last hour and a half or so, an hour plus long segment going through Portal Talk, Big Men Talk, and a swing and miss on Morris Johnson. And while I was on that segment, the Razorbacks fan base can remember a name, Jaden Quaintance. We've talked about it on several segments. I didn't do it on the earlier one today because he wasn't in the portal yet. But while I was doing the again, the previous HogvilleNet YouTube Live, Quaintance, it was announced as entering the portal. This could be significant for Arkansas. I don't know enough on it yet to say that for sure, but I always promise that if something breaks, I'll jump right back in here. I've only done that once or twice. I think I did it when DJ Wagner, when I was on the road in Kansas City in May, came on board with Arkansas, and we had just done a segment. And then we came back on to talk about DJ Wagner's commitment. So I'm jumping in here just because we didn't talk about Quaintance. Into the portal, 6'9" forward. If you remember, McDonald's All-American 5-star, part of that 6-player class for Cal at Kentucky. Before he took the Arkansas job, he brought half of the class with him. Nobody from the front line. Somtu Cyril, who we did just talk about again at Georgia, was one of those guys that he didn't bring with him, an Arkansas frontline guy. But Quaintance, 6'9", uber talented, an explosive guy off the floor, a very strong guy, 9.5 points per game this past season. Nearly 8 rebounds, 7.9 rebounds, 2.6 blocks in just under 30 minutes per game. So this is a rim protector, an athletic, strong interior presence. He did suffer a knee injury late in the year. I think in mid-March, he had an ACL reconstructive surgery. That's done arthroscopically. Typically, that was done at the Mayo Clinic, I read. And then his dad is in interviews. His father has stated that he will be good to go by September. He'll be cleared to begin, I guess, taking part in basketball-related activities. So that is, about a 6-month window from mid-March when he had the procedure. And that's about when you're ramping up. You're getting back to school. You've had your limited summer stuff, and you're starting to ramp up practice time and get ready, roll into October, have your exhibition season, yada, yada, and get into the season. And when guys return from injuries, especially knee injuries where they've had an ACL, their recovery time is different. The dad has said, Quaintance's father has said publicly, that he's already ahead of schedule based on what the doctors are saying. So who knows, what's really going on there. And who knows if Arkansas will be heavily in play, but I got to think they will be. This is the first of the two. If you remember when I started bringing up portal names, it was when the season was still going on before we even got to postseason. I started dropping names in early March, when teams were basically, their seasons were effectively over, that you might start keeping an eye on. The first names, the first guys I talked about, absolutely, were Jaden Quaintance and Somtu Cyril. Quaintance might have been the first one. We've brought his name up again a few times, but I didn't. You got me. We haven't picked him up yet. Now, I'm not breaking news that Arkansas's got a commitment. That was one of the concerns I had by jumping back on here, people thinking maybe I'm breaking a commitment announcement. No, but Arkansas, we just went through how, Morris Johnson Arkansas had him high up on the front on their big board on front line replacement, because when we talk retention, we've already passed Jonas Adu can't come back, Big Z in the portal. You got to get at least 2 more big bodies, even if you keep Trevor Brazil, and you need a more physical guy. Morris Johnson checks that box. Well, so does Jaden Quaintance. And I went through a bunch of big men names that are in the portal. I did bring up Cyril again, but I didn't bring up Quaintance today. And I wish I would have, and that's why I'm back on now. He's in the portal, and that was announced while I was doing that hour and 10-minute, 70-minute segment before. So we're going to keep this at 5 minutes. I'm not going to expand on it. I just went through the numbers, 9.5 points. 8 rebounds, 2.5 blocks, just under 30 minutes per game, 52% field goal shooter. He's a paint presence guy, not good at the free throw line, actually shot in the 40s at the free throw line. Got to get better there. Got some questions because of the knee, but again, I just gave you an update on that. So maybe he progresses nicely as expected and is ready to go for whoever gets him. But I got to think John Calipari in Arkansas will be in play here. I wanted to say that. I wanted to get it in today and say thank you. And we're making this. This is the shortest one I've ever done. Thanks for joining me on HogvilleNet YouTube Live for this break-in. Jaden Quaintance to the portal. Cal ties. Sign with him at Kentucky. Let's see if he can get Cal can get him to Arkansas. That would be one of those frontline responses that you need. You need 2. That could be one of them. We'll see where it goes. I will be giving more updates. Hey, please hit subscribe, like, and share if you haven't done already. Thanks again for joining me on HogvilleNET YouTube Live. Let's see if I jump back in if something breaks here in the next whatever today. I'll do a third one of these suckers today. Thanks for being here. See you next time.